Let's now discuss about external functions. External functions in Snowflake are user-defined functions that invoke code stored and executed outside of the Snowflake environment. They allow you to extend data pipelines by calling third-party APIs, machine learning models, or custom logic in languages like Go, C# that are not natively supported as internal UDF handlers. If we talk about core components, first is external function object, a database object in Snowflake that stores the invocation URL and the API integration name. Next is remote service. This is the executable code residing outside of your Snowflake, either in your Lambda or in your Azure functions or in your Google Cloud functions. So these code exist outside of your Snowflake environment, and we will see this code in action in few minutes. Next is proxy service. This is an HTTPS relay that receives requests from Snowflake and forwards them to the remote services. Next is API integration. This is something which is inside the Snowflake. It is a Snowflake object that securely stores authentication and security details needed to connect to the proxy service, which we are going to create in just few minutes. If we talk about limitations, the maximum response time batch is limited to 10 MB, and we cannot share the external functions via secure data sharing, and the external logic feature is only available for functions, not for any kind of stored procedures. They typically execute more slowly than internal UDF due to network latency and cloud infrastructure overload. Let's now go to Snowflake and see this in action. Let's now create an external function. For that, Snowflake had provided us this template where we can track all the steps like mentioning our account ID, Lambda function, role, ARN, gateway integration, and all those things. So I will also maintain this Word file so that I can keep track of all the required IDs, ARNs, and API names, so that it will be very handy when I create the external function to just copy paste from this Word file. I will attach this Word file inside my repo so that you can go and download from there as well. So first thing first, we need AWS account ID. For that, I will go to my AWS and I will click on my profile, and this is my account ID. I will just copy paste this account ID here, and next thing, I need to create a Lambda function. For that, I will type Lambda inside my AWS, and then I will click on create function. I will select author from scratch, and let's say my function name is Snowflake Lambda, and I want to have a runtime, let's say Python 3.14. Yeah, that's pretty much. So I will just click on create function, and I will record this Snowflake Lambda inside my Word file. And here my Snowflake Lambda function is created. It's the time to write some code inside this. I have my code ready. So first thing, I will remove the default code for Lambda and I will paste my code here. And once I paste my code here, I will deploy this code. And it started deploying. It had successfully deployed the code. And now I will click on test code and I will create a new test event. And let's say I will name this as test event. And then inside my event JSON, I will copy paste my code and I will invoke this code. And see guys, I got the status as success. This means my code is working as expected. I will click on save, and now I will go to my IAM and create a role. I will click on roles. I will create a role and I will select AWS account and I will create a role on top of my current account. Then I will click on next. And as of now, I don't assign any policy. I will just click on next and I will mention the role name as, let's say, Snowflake role. And yeah, that's it. And I will click on create. And perfect guys, I had successfully created my role as well. Now it's the time to create a proxy service on API gateway. So I will type API gateway and I will go to my API gateway. I will click on create an API and I will go to the REST API and click on build. And then I will click on new API. Then I will name the API as Snowflake AWS API. And then I will click on create API. After creating a API, I will click on create resource and I will name this as, let's say, Snowflake proxy. And I will click on create resource. Then I will click on my Snowflake proxy and I will create a method. And here I will select post. And yeah, I will also click on this Lambda proxy integration. And then I will select my Lambda here and I will click on create a method. Now I will copy this one and I will go to my Word file and I will place this as resource invocation URL. And I also need to fill my API name and API gateway resource name. And my API name is Snowflake AWS API. I will just mention here. Oops. And my API gateway resource name is Snowflake proxy. Perfect. Now I will click on this post option and here I will click on edit option and I will say authorization as AWS IAM and then I will click on save. And I will copy paste this one and I will paste inside my method request ARN. Now I will go to my resource policy from this right panel and I will click on create policy and I have a template ready. I will just change it. I will add my 12-digit account number, which is this one. And then I will mention my resource. And I will click on save changes. And now my policy is saved. I will go to my API and I will deploy this API. I will say new stage and I will name a stage name as, let's say, test, and I will deploy this. Perfect. This is my invoke URL. Now it's the time to go back to Snowflake and create a new worksheet. And I will name this as external functions. And let's create a API integration. Here, I need to mention API AWS role ARN. I will go to my Word and I will see what's the value of that. This is the value. I will copy paste. And then I need to mention my API allowed prefixes. And this is the value for that. I will copy and mention it here. And then I will run this one. And perfect, guys. I had successfully created my API integration. I will describe this integration now. And here I will copy my API AWS IAM user ARN and store it in my Word file. Similarly, I need to copy my API AWS external ID. That also I will copy paste and store it in my Word file. Once that's done, it's the time to set up trust between IAM and the Snowflake. For that, I will go back to my IAM and I will click on roles and then I will click on my role and then I will go to trust relationships and I will edit the trust. And inside the condition, I will mention my string equals. And then inside my external ID, I will copy paste my external ID. I will go here and I will just copy paste this ID. And also inside my AWS, I need to mention this AWS user ARN. So I will again copy paste this one. And perfect. I will click on update. And I had successfully created a handshake between AWS and Snowflake. It's the time to create my external function. So I will say create or replace external function by external name. Then I will pass the variables and then I will return the variant. And then I need to mention my API integration, which is my API integration 01. So I will add it here. And then I need to mention my invocation URL. If I go here, this is my invocation URL. I will just copy paste and then I will hit run. I had successfully created my external function as well. And as we just hit run, we are able to see our row ID and our external function name. This is how external function works in Snowflake. That's it, guys. That's pretty much about external functions. Next up is secure functions. In Snowflake, secure UDFs and secure store procedures are specialized objects created using the secure keyword to protect sensitive business logics and data. The key characteristics of secure functions are it is helpful in defining masking. The underlying SQL or JavaScript code remains hidden from unauthorized users. Commands like show functions or get DDL will not display unlike the user owns the function. And it also helps in metadata protection such as handler name and package imports are also concealed. And it is very helpful in optimizer constraints to prevent the data leakage via query plan analysis. The Snowflake Query Optimizer bypasses certain performance optimization. This ensures filters are applied before any potentially leaky UDF user-defined logic executes. Last one is it supports execution isolation for functions written in Java, Python, or Scala. Making them secure ensures they run in a separate, isolated sandboxes to prevent data sharing. With that said, we had covered domain 3 as well. Hope you had really enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one.